Everyone in the valley knew Wren's voice. It arrived before she did, a quick, bright stream of observations and questions and small jokes that filled whatever space she entered the moment she entered it. Wren had an opinion about most things, a question about everything else, and a laugh that went up at the end like a question mark. So when Talo found her sitting on the old fence post in the drizzle, saying nothing, watching nothing, a small sparrow with her wings folded tight around herself like a coat, he stopped walking. He had not seen Wren like this before. It was the kind of quiet that isn't restful. It was the kind of quiet that has weight to it. "Wren," he said. "Hi," she said, without looking up. Just, "Hi." Not even a sentence. Talo stood in the light rain and thought about what to do. When someone is upset, the first thing most of us want to do is fix it. We want to explain why things are actually fine, or list all the good things, or ask questions until we find the problem and have a solution ready. This is a very understandable instinct. It comes from caring. But there's something different from fixing, and it's called empathy. Empathy is different from sympathy, which is feeling sorry for someone from the outside, like looking at them through a window. Empathy is stepping inside, trying to understand what the feeling feels like from where they are, not from your own comfortable spot. The tricky thing about empathy is that it doesn't always come with a solution. Sometimes the most empathetic thing you can do is simply not leave. And that can feel strange, because it looks like doing nothing. But it is something. It is one of the most important somethings there is. Let's pause for just a moment here. Breathe in with me and out. Think about a time you felt sad or upset and someone asked what's wrong, and you couldn't quite say. Maybe you didn't have the words. Maybe the feeling was too mixed up. Maybe you just wanted them to stay and not ask questions. Sometimes feelings are too big or too tangled for words, especially at first. And in those moments, the thing that helps most isn't being asked to explain it. It's someone sitting close enough that you can feel them there. That's empathy, the willingness to be present with a feeling that you can't solve, because the person feeling it matters to you. Talo sat down on the fence post beside Wren. The drizzle fell softly around them both. He didn't ask what's wrong. He didn't list all the things that were good in the valley. He didn't say cheer up or it'll get better. He just sat. And after a while, he said, I don't have to go anywhere for a while. Wren didn't answer. But her wings, which had been pressed very tight around herself, loosened, just slightly. They sat for several minutes. The rain picked up a little, then settled back to its gentle drizzle. A frog made 3 noises by the brook and then went quiet. Eventually Wren said, my nest got wrecked in the storm last week. The one I built in spring. I already fixed it, but it's not the same. She paused. I know it's just a nest. It doesn't sound like just a nest, Talo said. Wren looked at him for the first time. It isn't, she said quietly. I built it with my whole self. And now it's just different. I'm sorry, said Talo. Not, it's fixable. Not, at least you have a nest. Just, I'm sorry. While Talo and Wren sit together in the drizzle, here is a true wonder fact about one of the most deeply empathetic creatures on Earth. Elephants are known to return, sometimes years later, to the spot where a family member died. They approach slowly. They touch the bones gently with their trunks. They stand in silence. Researchers who have observed this behavior believe the elephants are experiencing something closely related to what humans feel as grief, a deep recognition that something important and irreplaceable is gone. Elephants don't try to explain the loss away or make it smaller. They stand at the edge of it and acknowledge it. They remember. And in the herd, when one elephant is distressed, others will gather around it, touching, rumbling softly, not to fix the pain, but to make sure the grieving one knows, you are not standing at this edge alone. That is empathy in its purest form. Not solving. Just staying. Wren talked for a little while, not a lot, but some. About the nest, and the particular way she had woven the moss in at the top, and how the old spot had felt like hers in a way she couldn't explain, and how silly she knew it probably sounded. Talo said it didn't sound silly. Does it feel like that for you? Wren asked. Like a place being yours? Yes, said Talo. There's a root by the east meadow. Just a root. But I've sat on it so many times that it has the shape of me in it now. If I couldn't sit there anymore, I think I'd miss it properly. Wren considered this. My nest has the shape of me in it, she said. The new version doesn't yet. It will, said Talo. Give it time and some rain. It'll learn the shape of you. Wren was quiet for another moment. Then she said, Thank you for not telling me it's just a nest. It was never just a nest. Pause with me once more. Breathe in and out. Talo didn't solve Wren's problem. The nest was still different. The particular moss was still gone. But Wren felt better, because someone had sat in the drizzle with her and treated her feeling as real and worth staying near. Here is one of the most important things to understand about empathy. It doesn't require you to have the same feeling. You don't have to have lost a nest to understand what it means to lose something you built with your whole self. Empathy is using your imagination, really using it, to travel to where someone else is standing. And then standing there beside them for a while, instead of pulling them to where you are. By mid-morning the drizzle had lightened and then stopped entirely. The valley smelled of wet grass and new air, the particular smell that comes after rain, as if the whole world has just rinsed itself. Wren stretched her wings. Then she said, "Should we go find something to eat? I'm suddenly quite hungry." "Yes," said Talo. And they did, and Wren's voice came back slowly, not the fast-running stream of before, but steady and warm. She told Talo about a worm she'd found last Tuesday that had been spectacularly long. She had a question about whether frogs could tell colors apart. She found a seed in the mud and examined it with deep interest before eating it. Not fixed, but lighter. Moving again. Talo thought, that's what empathy does. It doesn't remove the weight. It just means you don't have to carry it alone. That evening, Wren went back to her rebuilt nest. She tucked in the edge of the moss, there was a loose bit, and settled herself into the curve of it. It wasn't quite right yet, but it was close. It was getting there. Here are 3 things she kept from the day. 1. Empathy isn't a solution, it's a presence. The most powerful thing you can offer someone hurting is simply, "I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere." 2. You don't have to understand a feeling perfectly to honor it. "I can tell this matters to you" goes further than any perfect explanation. And 3. When someone shares their hard feeling with you, even a small one, that is a form of trust. Be gentle with it. So tonight, if you know someone who's been a little quiet lately, or if you're the one who's a little quiet, remember, you don't have to fix everything. Sometimes you just have to stay close enough to be felt. Good night, empathetic friend. Nobody carries things better when they carry them alone.